Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Expanding CakePHP 5.3. So in our previous episode, we enabled, we started enabling role-based access control to our application, and in the ideal world would have would have like a members portal, and you can sort of go into there and do certain things based upon your role. But for the initial implementation of this, what we're doing is we're just showing, or I'm just showing the basic operation of it before we go into the portal side of things. But one of the things that you can see, or you will be able to see, is the fact that we are in this. Yeah, start again. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Expanding CakePHP 5.3, the 40-minute tutorial. And in the previous episode, we looked at introducing RBAC, role-based access control, which is kind of implemented within the tutorial itself, in that you can't edit somebody else's posts, you can't delete them. Same with the user accounts as well. And in the previous episode, we looked at, I can't view visitors, I can't see users unless I'm logged in. But what we did was we enabled the is admin field. And if I just refresh this, we should have at least one admin. Basically, what we're doing now is just close that down. There we go. Don't need that. What we're going to do today is look at creating a table policy, which is something that the documentation on CakePHP seems to lack a little bit. And it's like the entity policy, where we're able to restrict access on the can view, the can edit, the can delete. But what this does is it provides you the ability to create different scopes based upon different things. So, for instance, at this moment in time, we have this logic here where we're able to see unpublished posts, right? Which is not ideal. And of course, the problem is, if we just put if statements into the controller file itself, it's going to bloat it out, and it can get quite confusing as you move ahead, especially when you start doing things like web portals and user portals and yada yada yada. So what we want is a situation where, if nobody is logged in, we can see all the published posts. So by the end of this, we're not going to see ID 5. We're just going to see 1 and 2. 5 is not published yet. And then when we edit it, of course, I've got to log in. So let's log in, and we tick that and then submit. It should automatically come back. Now, of course, you're going to ask me, well, how do you edit it when you can't see it? Well, when you log in as CakePHP1, what we should be able to do is also say, right, you can only see, because you're now logged in, all your posts, because once you're logged in, you're going to be logging into, 1, create an article, and 2, to edit your articles. And you can kind of see where this is going. We're then going to be implementing a web portal or a portal kind of functionality where users log in. Once they've logged in, they can then see what they're doing. So you can kind of see where this is going to head towards next. Okay, enough of me rambling on. Let's go and do some coding once I've just put this back to not published. Okay, so I'm just going to commit these files, because then I can roll back if I need to. And I'm just going to come back up here, and we're just going to close all the editors down. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to create a policy, and we can do this via the CLI. So I'm going to bake and then a policy, and it's going to be type table. Okay, now if you just typed in policy and then used articles, it's not article, because article comes down to the entity. We're going to be using articles. If you don't put a type in, it will default back to entity, and of course you can do type entity as well. So don't just assume that when you do this it will create both for you, because it won't. Okay, and then you can see when we go to our policies now, we've got articles table policy, and as you can see, we've got the public function scope index. Okay, so as you can see here, only allow users to see articles that they own, and you can return the query rare. So if we just, I don't know, we're just going to use this for the time being. Okay, and then I'm just going to save that because we can. And then we're going to go to our articles controller. And then in the index method, we're not going to skip authorization. Okay, what I am going to do though is put in this authorization. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just trying to remember how to do this. It's been a while, so I apologize. So first of all, what we need to do is take that out. And then I'm going to query again. So query, because this apply scope query. Okay. And then we're going to paginate whatever this comes back. Okay. So we've got the container associations of the users. So the users are going to be applied. And then so all we've done is just change the authorization. So where we skipped the authorization in the first place, now it's going to be contacting this guy here. Okay, so let us go back to our website, and hopefully it's not going to break. And there we go. Now what's happened here is that, as I said, because the code is only going by the logged in user, if we logged out and then clicked on articles, you can see user must be of type authorization identity interface. And because nobody is logged in, it's not going to give us any articles, which is kind of useless. If I logged in as CakePHP1, you can see we've only now got this article. So it's working. We now know that table policy has worked. And what we need to do now is flesh that table policy out a little bit so that we can view it. Okay, so let's get back to the code. So what we need to do is change this. Okay, so this was the example, only allow users to see the articles that they own. And the cool thing about this is that you can create other indexes and call them in regards to it. So we don't have to create multiple table policies. We can use the same one. And if we just go to the articles controller, you can see that apply scope query. There we go. And we can name them ourselves, okay, which is really, really cool. So what we're going to do is just comment this line out for the time being, okay? We don't really need it for what we're doing. Okay, so what we are going to do in this is I'm just going to put a question mark in front of that because it could be null. What we're going to do is we're going to allow users that are not logged in to view the articles, okay, that have been published. So let's just write an if statement. So if user, and it's going to be null, okay. So it says here to return an empty query. I hate autocomplete, I really do. Right, so we're going to return the query where, and we're going to create an array where the articles that have been published, so articles dot published equals to true. Okay, so if anybody's working on drafts or they've saved the drafts or whatever it is, right, they're going to return back true, right? And let's close that if statement, save that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just go back. We're going to log out and we're going to go to articles. You can see now that we now don't have an error message, and now we have the articles that have been published. Remember that CakePHP 1 has an article that isn't published. Okay, now if we logged in as CakePHP 1, it's going to kind of break a little bit because, as you can see, we've not returned anything because we haven't factored in that the user is currently logged in. Okay, so what we're going to assume, and I want you to use your imagination a little bit, is that the user is now logged in and we're going to return the articles, okay, that they own. Okay, user has logged in to the portal, return all their articles. Okay, and this is pretty much what we put up here, so we could have copied that down. Okay, so now when we refresh, when we go and have a look and just refresh, you can see now that CakePHP 1, I'm logged in as CakePHP 1, can only see his article. Now, from a role-based access point of view, in the previous episode, we had it where you couldn't edit or delete somebody else's post unless you were an admin, right? Then it kind of takes that away. You can only edit or view. Now, obviously, you can click on articles as much as you want to. When you're logged out and click on articles, you can see the published ones. When you log in, you can only see your articles, irrespective of them being published. Okay, so if I do go back in as CakePHP 1 and I edit this article and I publish it, right, we're published, yes, I can click on articles. You can see, irrespective of published or otherwise, we can still see his articles. If we log out and go back to articles, you can now see that this article has come back because visitors can only see the published articles, and that is just nice and easy. That's something that RBAC gives you within CakePHP, which is nice and easy. Yes, you've got to create another file. Yes, you've got to do things kind of around the houses a little bit, but yeah. So what if you are an admin? Okay, we can only see our articles, and this kind of goes against what we built in the previous episode, because what an admin needs to do is have the ability to edit, to delete, to kind of, I don't want to use the words control, but that's the whole point of role-based access, right? Is that you can edit things, that you can change things, that you can say to somebody, hey, look, I need to edit your post, or I've edited your post. This is what's happening, right? So the way we do that is nice and easy, in essence, he says. Okay. And the way that we do this is we use before. Okay. So I'm just going to copy some stuff. And we're going to use the before policy interface. Okay. And what this does is, before we do anything, okay, right, I'm going to get whether or not, don't know what's going on here. I hate autocomplete. This is really annoying me. I used to like it, right? But anyway, now I don't. I hate it. Right. So if the user get, now we're not using role, okay? So we're just going to use is admin. I don't know why I put the braces in. I don't want braces. I want one of them. Is admin, right? Return true. Okay, we can do whatever we want. Okay. That should be good, right? We're good. So if I hit refresh, I still can't see everything, what's going on, even though we have returned true. Else return null. Implements before policy interface. There we go. And that's still coming up as none. One. So we've got the user, we've got the action. Let's try that. Nope. Okay. I've kind of a little bit bemused as to why the before filter is not working, but the logic behind it kind of makes sense, that because we've got this guy here, it's kind of returning what the logged in user is. So what I'm going to do is kind of put this logic down in here. So if the user is admin, return query. Okay. I think that's going to sort of solve the let's try that. Right. And then try again. We should. Nope. Still not liking it. Right, so let's rewrite this if statement. Think. Okay, we don't need that anymore. So we don't need that. We don't need that. We shouldn't need that before policy interface. No, we don't, because we're not using it. Right. So actually, if user get is admin, if user get, I just want to try something first, if that logic that it's auto completed has actually broken it. Which is possible. Yeah, it was. So as you can see now, we can see absolutely everything. So I don't know if the before filter broke it, but let's just remove it and see. So yeah, we've got rid of that. That's cool. And we can delete that. That's cool. And then refresh the page. We should still be able to see, yeah, and we can. And we should still be able to edit the post, because the entity policy is allowing us to do that. And then of course, if we unpublish the post and then submit, we can still see it. Whereas our users, call to member function on null. If user get is admin. Okay. Cool. Let's go back to our code. Okay. Let's try that. And then go back. And then close that. There we go. You can see that the unpublished post has now gone. And if we log in as CakePHP1, you can see that he can only see his article. And if he creates a new article, testing RBAC, see this and the other one. We're going to publish it and we're going to do RBAC and testing. Right, and then click submit. And as you can see, we've got our published post. We've got our non-published post. And if we log out and then go to articles as a visitor, we can still see our posts. We can't see post 5 because it's not published. And if we log in as our admin, we can see all 4 posts. And if we edit this one, we still can. We can publish it. We can still see it. And if we log out and go back, we can now see all of the posts. So you can see now how you can filter out and do things from a query level. You don't have to filter the results in a view file or in the controller side of it. You can put the logic into the table policy and you can easily restrict things without too much thought. Sorry for the faults, guys. I like to keep them in the videos just to prove I am human and I do have to kind of think on my feet a little bit. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in another episode. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching once again. Bye-bye.